सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। गं गणपतये नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः। अष्टविनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाप्पा मोरया। महादेवा
माता पार्वती पिता महादेवा
गजानना हे गणपति देवा
गजानना हे गणपति देवा
गजानना हे गणपति देवा
गजानना हे गणपति देवा
जय 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 गणपति देवा
जय 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 गणपति देवा
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश
शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश
शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश
शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश
शिवनंदन गणपति गणेश
शिवनंदन गणपति गणेश
शिवनंदन गणपति गणेश
शिवनंदन गणपति गणेश
मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
हे मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
हे मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
हे मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
हे मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
हे मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
हे मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
हे मोरिया रे बाप्पा मोरिया रे
मोरया रे बाबा मोरया रे
प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय. Devotees and friends, Sitaram to one and all. And what a wonderful evening of offering again. And प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय. Anytime the parasat bags start to make noise, I'll call Olya to tell Olya to tell me what we say. Nah? So I'll be careful in the kitchen. प्रेम से बोले श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय. ओम श्री गणेश भगवान की जय. You know, in the very earlies when I was a little boy, we had one of the senior pundit in this community. And when you hear he go to do a puja, he would have been able to distinguish everybody's voice who making the noise. And he would call from where he doing the puja on the bedi and tell that person to stop talking. And if they never stop, he used to pack a group and he used to leave. And I wonder how it is that he could have recognized every individual voice. And it's after my experience into it. Each person, when you talk while I am talking, I know who talking, because the voice is very, very So, my dear children, let us not find ourselves as victims to create a situation where you will be disturbing the dissemination of the words of Bhagwan. We all pray. Putting the hands together, closing the physical eyes, we all concentrate and meditate upon that divine master, asking for guidance and protection. We all pray. गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं कपितजम्बो फलसारभक्षणम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकम् नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पारमहंसम् या देवी सर्वभूतेषु सरस्वती रूपेण संस्कृतम् नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। नागेन्द्रहारं त्रिलोचनाय भस्मग्रगाय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय। ॐ अञ्जनीगर्भासन्मुखो वायुपुत्रो महाबलो कुमारो ब्रह्मचारी च हनुमान में प्रसिद्ध में। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सहा वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ओम। प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय। Last evening, children of God, we spoke a little bit of Raja Bhim and his sadness. And Raja Bhim's sadness came as a result that he had no children. He gave, my dear friends, in charity all that he had. And yet still he did not gain a child. He was one of the best king. He lived up, my dear friends, to all the spiritual discipline. He was a good karma yogi. He did all that he do by giving. But my dear friends, he did not spend much time in the company of the saints. And when he realized, hey, I have no children, and it is because of my own doings, and last night we established that. Whatever happening to us today is because of our own doings of what we have done yesterday. The moment, my dear friends, you start to blame people for what is happening to you today, you're building your karma. You're building, my dear friends, that karmic debt of that person. And you will see a very important lesson here this evening. So he understood that he didn't have no children, and he was unhappy because of his own doings. Principal Shri Ramchandra Bhagwan ki jai, Ganesh Bhagwan ki. How many of us are so brave? How many of us are so pure at heart to accept what is happening today is because of me? We look to blame everybody else except ourselves. But you see, our memory is very, very short. So we can remember what happened. You know, some of you, if they ask you what you had for breakfast this morning, you might still miss out one or two of the things that you had for breakfast, much less to remember back things that happened years gone by that you're now paying for. And I use the word paying for because we all have to pay for the negative actions which we have performed in the past. And we'll all be rewarded for the great and good actions which we have performed in the past. So, children of God, when you see one rising in life, don't be jealous of that. His karmic quota have carried him there. And when you see someone who is high here, and you see they start just deteriorating, if you can't hold them up, don't go and get squeezed below, because their karmic debt is pulling them down and will squeeze everything in its part as it comes down, because it will never stop. So my dear friends, this life that you have now is the most important thing. Although you are living the past today, you are living the results of the past today, children of God, you have to take that and transform it to what you want it to be in the future. But if you live the same life that you live in the past and you treat it the same way, you know, and let's take a nice situation. Somebody have done me something, Ganesh have done me something in the past, and I abuse him and I do all of that. But now it is my turn to pay for it. And when it comes to me now, instead of I taking this and turning it into something better for me for tomorrow, I continue the same the same line of thought. That wicked boy, and I continue with that. Tomorrow, what is I going to do? I'm going to get the same result, that the same experience that I'm experiencing today. You have the power of choice to change your present for the future. You can't change it. You have to live it. And this is the word I should use. You have to live your present to create for the tomorrow. प्रेम से बोले श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. So devotees and friends, Raja Bhim understand that is either his last life or something in the past have created. So who he decided to go by? Vishwamitra. Well, he went into the forest. He have decided that he's going into the forest to pray. He's leaving all the riches and all the kingdom and everything else, and he's going to the forest to pray. And my dear friends, the sceneries that were, described, all the birds and the trees and everything else, as they were entering that special part of the forest, which led them to the ashram of Vishwamitra. And they told Vishwamitra what happened and who he is and so on. And Vishwamitra told to him, this is as a result of your last life. Prem se bole Sri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. Om Samukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakam Lambodara Vikto Viganasham Ganadipati Namaha Om Dhumraketu Ganayaksho Balachandro Gajyanaham Padeshatani Namami Yatsrinudayapim Vidyarambe Vivahe Cha Pravishe Nirgame Tatham Sangrami Sankati Che Evam Viganamatasya Na Jayate Om Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki Jai. Jai Jai Ganapati Jai Ganapati Jai Ganesha Jai Ganapati Jai 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 Ganapati Jai Ganapati
जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय
जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान राजने निघ्यास के महामुनि मुझे मेरे पूर्वा जन्मा का वृद्धठम सुनने के कृपा कीजिए कि मेरे धूर भगवान गणेश्वर का निर्धन कैसे हो गया तम. जय श्री गणेश भगवान. विश्वामित्र बोले महाराज तुम्हारे फूल में बहुत पहले भीम नाम का. जय जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान. एक अन्य प्राप्ति पुरुष हुए तम. जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान. उसकी पत्नी अत्यंत सुंदर और पतिव्रत थी. उसने एक पुत्र की प्राप्ति हुई जो गुंगा बहिर और भील लंका था. उसके शरीर से दुर्गंधा अति थी. माता पिता ने उसका नाम तक्षा रखा. आने का प्रयत्न करने पर भी वहाँ बाल कम मूकट और बधिरत के दोष से मुक्त ना हो सकता. जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान. जय श्री गणेश
जय जय भगवान.
Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Vishwamitra Rishi Muni, Vishwamitra, the great Muni, the great sage, is telling to him now. He says, listen, 7 generations back in the city of Bhanu, he said there was a king who ruled by the name of Vallabha. His wife was Kamala. My one named Kamala, right? But this one was Kamala, And he says they got a son, they had a son. So he's talking about Raja Bhim 7 generations back. So my dear friends, 7 generations back, before you, in the city of Bhanu, there live your ancestors whose name was Vallabha. His wife was Kamala. They got a son. However, my dear friends, when the child was born blind. And so, devotees and friends, the child was born blind, deaf, and dumb, and was badly afflicted with disease. He had, that leprosy, and, the information, all of that was just flowing through this child's skin. And devotees and friends, the Queen Kamala, who could not bear, my dear friends, who was unable to look at it, she said, my dear friends, that instead of such a child being born to me, it need not have been born at all. So she wished that she never had that child. We're talking about 7 generations back. But after a while, my dear friends, the king, who was also very perturbed, he was very disturbed in his mind. He knew for a fact growing a child would be very much hardship. The hardship and the suffering will happen. But however, my dear friends, they decided that they are going to pray and all of that. And in praying, they hope now that this child will get well. Like any parent, you get a child, the child is not well, you will pray, and you'll resort to that first, that you hope that prayer will help you. Devotees and friends. So they named this child Taksha. And so they prayed for quite a long while. And Taksha did not change. And this is what happened. Let us listen. Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai 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 Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Shri Ganesh, Jai Jai Bhagavan, जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान। हे राजन किसी ने राजा से कहा कि यदि बालक आपन माता के साथ तीरथ धन करे तो संभवा है कि बालक का रोग दूर हो जयंग उसके परमश पर राजा के अधीश से रानी आपने पुत्र को लेकर तीरथ यात्रा को चल पते। जय जय श्री गणेश जय श्री गणेश भगवान। मरगा में चोर ने उसने लूट लिया इसलिए उसके पास जीवन यापन के लिए भी धन नहीं रही। जय जय श्री गणेश भगवान। जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति। Like so many males, so many men, the first to get fed up. And the king got fed up. And he said, this, I can't take this anymore. I can't take this anymore. And so, devotees and friends, what happened? He told to his wife, he said, you will now have to leave the palace with your son. And he put them out. And the mother with the queen with her little ornaments and so on went. She left, and so she went for the forest area. And so, devotees and friends, what followed? It says, as the lady, the queen, was now moving through the forest, he said, thieves came now. And they took away all the little ornaments and so on that she had for the child. And so, devotees and friends, it was very difficult. It was very difficult for her to continue. But each day, my dear friends, she is to find a mandir somewhere. And she is to place her son in the mandir, go and beg for food, and come back and make sure that they sustain life. Devotees and friends, you see this way that people still have, and that trouble for sustenance of life, it is still very much pretty prevalent. In our country today, if you don't know, there are certain areas that with certain people who do not know where the next meal of food is coming for their child. The same thing is happening here to the queen. Devotees and friends, this boy was born blind, deaf, and dumb. And so, devotees and friends, the father put them out, and the mother used to work and work and work and ensure that that child got food to eat. And so, devotees and friends, she continued like this. Let us listen again. Jai Jai Ganapati, जय गणपति जय गणेश
जय गणपति जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय
जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान तब उसने एक शिव मंदिर में शरण ले और बालक को वही चोट कर भिक्षम के लिए गंगा में चली गई तभी उस मंदिर में एक धर्मशाला ब्राह्मण आए ब्राह्मण आए उसके शरीरा का श्रेयशाम करके पवहित होने वाले बहू के श्राप से बलका का शरीर रोग मुक्का को गया जय जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान जय जय गणपति जय गणपति
जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय
जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान अब माता और पुत्र दोनों ने भगवान गणेश की उपासना की जिसने प्रसन्न होकर गणेश जी ने स्वप्न में कहा कि तुम मेरे परम भक्त महर्षि मोरगल के पास जाओ उनसे तुम्हें समस्त अभीष्टों की प्राप्ति हो सकती है महर्षि भृगु से कहा हे सोमकंद विश्वामित्र जी ने भीम का आगे का वृत्तांत सुनाने हुई कहा जीवे दोनों मुख रखा आश्रम की दो खोज में बहुत समायत अरण्यों में जय श्री गणेश जय जय श्री गणेश जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान जय जय गणपति जय
गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय
So she changed village. Because if somebody coming, my dear friends, in your village every day, and then you would say that, you mean every day you come in and ask him for something? So she changed village. Raise that a little higher. She changed village, my dear friends. And as she changed village, there in the next village that she went, again, she saw a Shiva Mandir. And that Shiva Mandir, my dear friends, she have placed her son in the Shiva Mandir, and then she decided that she is going, my dear friends, to beg. She is going to ask for food to see about her child. But it says at the very moment, a Brahmin came by. And when that Brahmin came by, the Brahmin did not see the child inside. But my dear friends, this Brahmin that came by, his name was Murkal. And Murkal, my dear friends, had done a great amount of devotion, bhakti. And children of God, I want to tell to you this evening, if you continue to think negative, then all your aura, all the vibration coming from you will be negative. You're passing by someone, they will run from you. But if you continue to be divine and you continue to share love, that vibration of love will flow. And my dear friends, if you give up the world and you see God, Swami Chinmayananda tells to us in a very wonderful book called Viveka Chudamani. He says, looking at things from the standpoint of the self and recognizing the entire world of pure reality within and without and everywhere, both the sentient and insentient, as one own self, is a state of total liberation. But he continues to tell to us, he said, through this physical body, you would only see the physical things. Through this physical body, you would only see the physical world. And recognize their individual size and shape and color. Yeah. And that is what most of the time, when we come to Yajna, that is the level we come at, and that's the level we leave at. We leave at the physical level. Because all you see the kurta that Pandit wearing, and you compare it to yours. And you remain right there, you're lost. You look at the sharwal that someone wear, or the sari, and you assimilate that in your mind. That is a pretty sari, and that's all you go with. You would go with nothing more. But my dear friends, all right, look at the Khalsa in front of Ganesha. Another thought came to my mind. This form that you see in here is the container. And that's all we see. Once you live from a physical standpoint, you will only see the container. You would look and you would see at the beautiful mala on the murti. You would try and you would look and you'll see, oh, well, this is not full. I don't know, it could be something like that. So my dear friends, you look at this. We look at the clothes that we wear. So all this clothes is doing, it is decorating the container. You can take a dog and put a nice clothing on the dog, and you say, what a pretty dog. But go and take away the dog bone and tell me you go see how pretty the dog is, no matter how pretty the clothes is. He'll grab for your neck because you're taking away what he has. So my dear friends, the contents of the dog there is not the pretty clothes that you have on the dog. It's what he have on his thought, what is on his mind. All I concern about is having my bone for myself. Anybody come to grab this, I'll grab at their neck. But my dear friends, have you ever taken time and tried to connect your mind with another person's mind? As husbands and wives, do you all make that connection with your mind? Or you only watch the husband now and say, hey, your belly getting big now, eh? Be careful. And you tell the wife, hey, you're getting some gray hair by your ears. Be careful. That's not the content, that's just the container. Be like Prabhu Sri Ram and Sita. When Prabhu Sri Ram and Sita was taken across the Ganga by the boatman, Prabhu Sri Ram just looked at Sita and she knew exactly what was on his mind. She knew exactly what was on his mind. And she took off her ring and she gave it to her Lord so that he can pay the boatman. My dear friends, this is the connection we need to make. How many of you as parents make that connection with your children? My two daughters will tell to you, I am making no joke around mommy, no. Because she have developed herself. That she, you know, they say they could read somebody like a book. Ask my two girls. My wife will read them as a book, anything. And sometimes she will even tell them before they even come and tell her. This is the connection. How many of us, my dear friends, are making this effort? And I ain't going outside yet, I'm talking about just our children. How many of us are connecting with our children, mind to mind? No. We only think about the physical. We only think about the container, not the contents. Well, let me tell you, children of God, parents, you need to attune the child mind to your mind. And if you have a wicked mind, don't expect the child to have a divine mind. If you have a wicked mind, that is what you're going to attune with the child. So my dear friends, it says physical body will look at the physical things. But when we look at the mind, now my dear friends, you start dealing with the contents. And your mind, your contents in this container filter out. If your mind is filled with negativity, as you walk, everybody tremble. You all had school days. There were days you will go in the classroom and when you look at the teacher, you smile with the teacher. And there are days when you look at the teacher face, you go in the desk and you put your hand together and you hold it by your leg there and you start squeezing it. Frightened and just waiting now because your mind was able to connect with the teacher's mind. And that is why, my dear children of God, we need to keep positive thoughts on our mind. Because every one of us, our vibration, we call it the aura. And who have eyes to see and skin to feel would know when the negativity is around. So children of God, this is what it is saying here. The Brahmin came, and the Brahmin had such a great divine aura that the aura of the Brahmin, Murkala, went through the Shiva Mandir and touched the skin of the boy. And so, my dear friends, he was cured of his skin disease. He started to talk. He started to hear. And you would say, Pandit, that's a nice fairy tale. And I understand that it's a katha, but what is the message coming from it? The message is of what we raised last night. Whatever you want in life, my dear friends, comes only by your association with the saints. So what did, my dear friends, the Brahmin Marakala, when he recognized that there was a child in there, young man, the mother, he initiated them to worship Sri Ganesh Bhagwan. And my dear friends, they really intensified their devotion to Sri Ganesh Bhagwan. They had no second thought. You know, I'm talking to a few people these days and asking, who going back again in the Vrat? And what is some of the answers are getting? I'm still thinking. I'm still thinking about it. And nothing wrong. Because my dear friends, devotion is not to force anybody into anything. You must come selflessly to it. But my dear friends, with a great amount of love for Ganesha, they recited Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. And they went, my dear friends, length of time, going, until Ganesh Bhagwan was very pleased with them. And he appeared to the boy and he told to him, Daksh, I'm very satisfied with your devotion. What would you like? And he said, I would like to have the six items that which will make me always happy. What are those? Earth, Kam, Dharma, Moksha, and constant experience with the Lord. And the sixth, my dear friends, is to see God in all things. To see God in all things. So Kaviraj said, if I do you something that you're not happy about, although as Guru, you think you will still see God in me? You'll see God in me because I is Guru. But if somebody in work do you something now that cause you to lose your job, would you see God in that person? And that is where we have to reach. We have to reach to that point where we will see God into that person also. Why? Because, my dear friends, Kamala now is saying All the little hate that, she husband put she out, the king put she out. Thief away all she jewels and everything else. She, my dear friends, it was very difficult for her to grow her son. Now that the son got well, what do you think she would do? I'm going back to show him. And that was what we would have done. I'm going back to show him what happened. But no, my dear friend, she didn't think like that. She said, I want to see my husband now. And I want to thank him very much for what he have done. Because if he did not put me out, I would not have met this Brahmin, this great sage, this great Muni, and my son would have never been cured. But because of his action, which I could not understand at the time when it happened, you all with me? You all with me how Kamala is thinking? Not Kamala, Kamala. You all with me how she thinking? Now she realized the bliss in the negative action, as they always tell you. There is always two sides of a coin. And no matter how dark life may be, there will be a shining point at some point. And it's only when you see the shining point, is then you could understand why you were getting all this trouble in life. Why this one was doing that and why this one, and you were so at edge. Now, my dear friends, when her son got well again, what she said? She said, I would like to go back to my husband and thank him for putting us out, because if he did not, I would have not met with this great sage and my son would have never been cured. You think that could happen, Ganesh? Not when we live in the physical, Please. It is only when the realization came of the great good, of the negative which happened in the past. And I want to tell to you today, every negative thing that happened into your life will bring a positive, So don't consider, it may not be what you would like, but there are so many positive coming out of it. Prem Sabol Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. And so, devotees and friends, she was able to get that boon, and her son was well again. And so, devotees and friends, they continue to praise to Sri Ganesh Bhagwan again and again and again. And so, that was happened 7 generations back. Now, O King Bhim, I am going to tell to you about your last birth, your one, and why you was in this state. So I'm showing you 7 generations back have affected you now. But you also in your last birth have done something which will return back to you also, which have returned back to you. So, O Bhim, listen. Oh, my dear children, tomorrow is a public holiday. Please come out and listen. What Vishwamitra is going to tell Bhim of how he behaved in the last life. And how, my dear friends, this which happened 7 generations back is going to affect him. This which happened 7 generations back, how he is going to pay the price for it. Prem Sabol Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. And so, devotees and friends, I invite you to come tomorrow to get this wonderful katha. It's a katha which we have already done. But my dear friends, the amount we have placed into the katha, if you heard the katha before, you would only know the frame, the container of the katha. I want you to come tomorrow to get the contents of that wonderful katha of Bhim and his last life. Omar, sing son. as these nights continue, I hope that you all are assimilating into your minds that, hey, nobody is responsible for my life, but I am responsible for my life. I am responsible for molding my own life. I am responsible for making my own happiness. I am the one who is responsible for my own entanglement and sadness and troubles that life has. Think about it. You have contributed to your position that you are at the present moment. Sitaram.
निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण गणपति चरण जग दुख हरण गणपति चरण जग दुख हरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण गणपति चरण जग दुख हरण गणपति चरण जग दुख हरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण संताप सब मन के हरे मंगल सदा गणपति करे संताप सब मन के हरे मंगल सदा गणपति करे मन कर रहा प्रातः स्मरण मन कर रहा प्रातः स्मरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण गणपति चरण जग दुख हरण गणपति चरण जग दुख हरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण निश दिन नमो गणपति चरण
Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. So devotees and friends, now you get your coconuts and so on. And while the coconut and so on is coming, you all get your coconut now so that we can. And then we'll get into Arti. Huh? Okay? We all pray. We all pray. Om Samukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakam Lambodara Sachavikto Viganasham Ganadipatiye Namaham Om Dhumraketu Ganayaksho Balachandro Gajyanam द्वादेशतनी नमामि यत्सृणुदयापिं विद्यारम्भे विवाहे च प्रविशे निर्गमे तथा संग्रमे संकटे च एवं विघ्नं तस्य न जायते। ओम श्री गणेश भगवान की जय। गणेश भगवान की जय। Nobody crack it. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव।
लड्डुअन का भोग लागे संत कर सेवा।
लड्डुअन का भोग लगे संत कर सेवा।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा।
माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव।
माता तेरो
पार्वती पिता महादेव।
एक दंत धायवंत चार भुजधारी। एक दंत धायवंत चार भुजधारी। ए मस्तक सिंदूर सोहे मुसकी ये सवारी।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव।
एक दंत धायवंत चार भुजधारी।
एक दंत
धायवंत चार भुजधारी। मस्तक सिंदूर सोहे मुसकी ये सवारी।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा।
माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव। माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेव।
गम गणपते नमो नमः।
सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः। अष्ट विनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाबा मोरया। ओम गम गणपते नमो नमः। श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः। अष्ट विनायक नमो नमः। गणपति बाबा
बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
हे मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
मोरिया रे बापा मोरिया रे
एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो धन्ति प्रचोदयात्. May you always be happy. Om Sarvesham Mangalam Sarveshantu Niramayam Sarve Badrani Pashyantu Ma Kachit Dukbhaye. Om Asatoma Satgamayam Tamasoma Jyotirgamayam Mrityoramam Amritam Gamayam. Om Tvameva Matam Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhum Chasika Tvameva Tvameva Vidyam Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Sri Ganesh Bhagavan, today as we have come to you, dear Lord, please touch each and every one. Please touch each and every one with your healing hands. Hey Bhagwan, may the peace be felt in the hearts of all. We are your loving children. Hey Bhagwan Ganesh, today we present ourselves to you from this wonderful shrine of 56 Mappy Road, Whiteland. Those who need your healing hands this evening, O Bhagwan, touch them with your healing hands this evening, O Bhagwan. O Bhagwan, those who need your arms of compassion, embrace them with your wonderful arms of compassion. Those whose mind has no direction, give them the lamp of your knowledge. Hey Bhagwan Ganesh, whoever have obstacles, remove those obstacles and bring success, bring victory into their life. Children of God, concentrate on Sri Ganesh. Allow him to touch you this night. He's here in your presence. Take him home with you by chanting Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki Jai. Sanatan Dharma ki. Om Sri Gurudevata ki Jai Jai Sitaram. All please have your seat. Arti and Prasad will come to you. And my dear friends, again tomorrow, puja commences at 5:30. Try and be a little bit by 6:30 to be here, most of you. Some comes for 5:30, please. Let it continue to flow. You know, today it ran a little bit later because a few of you came a little bit later. So let's try tomorrow to be here on time so that the offerings could finish by 7:15 and I will be able to complete the katha. However, yet still I was able to complete my katha and it's now only 10 to 9. So I think we are all going very well. So my dear friends, who are we going to call today? Who want to come today and say, what is the main points I did today? If nobody can come, I'll call, eh? Nirav. Avinash, take the RT and pass it there. Come on this side. Come on this side.